you know, it's a great assumption to say that, I was very financially stable and I had no money problems, and right, I think
Excuse my assumption.
no, no, you're good. I mean, I think that's the whole purpose of this though, right? Is the whole purpose of, you on pigeon loans is breaking down a lot of those a lot of those barriers of people being open and honest with like, I can be real with like how things happen. I mean, because the origin
Yeah,
story of
please do.
how City Innovations started is not something I talk about a lot. I don't think entrepreneurs do. I don't think enough focus. The analogy I give is like, and I like to see is you've seen those motivational posters where you're like, I don't know, they're like perseverance, and it's like a guy climbing a mountain or something. Like, well, one of them is like that I've seen that I really resonate with is like failure, and so or success. That's probably better. It's a
Mhm.
success, and then it's a picture of this iceberg, and underneath the water is the failure, and all people see is the top of the iceberg, right? So it's
Yeah,
like,
the tip, yeah.
so that's the thing is like you looked at my resume and you started out with like, oh, it's a really impressive resume, and it's like, but I mean, there was tons of failures to get to that point, and so
Yeah.
going back to your question of like uh, what was that process and what did it look like? I remember when, I left KPMG, and one of the things that I was, very, I had a very cushy job, and I said, I know I'm going to have to make sacrifices. And as I moved over, one of the things that I looked to do was to see if I could maintain the same lifestyle. And that's impossible. When you're going from a very cushy, large company to a startup, a lot of sacrifices had to
Yeah.
be made. And so my wife and I made big, took a big pay cut, right? It was over a 50% pay cut, to go work at a startup. And so, but I mean, obviously there's risk and there's reward. So we looked at the reward and we're like, okay,
Of
the
course, yeah.
outcome of this could be a good thing. But where that led to was, I remember distinctly there was a season of, uh, we were going through, it was in the winter, middle of winter in Michigan, mind you, which is freezing. If you don't know Michigan weather, it's freezing, and it's, and I remember my furnace broke. And in that moment, my furnace broke. I looked at the bank account because we made cuts in all these areas. You have to also make lifestyle cuts, right? And so
Yeah.
it was about a couple years in, and we had been putting things on credit cards because we couldn't make it, with just the salary cuts and all that stuff. So we were trying to keep reducing, and so I looked at that and I was like, my furnace broke. I've got these credit cards, and I'm sitting here going, and I have no way of paying for this furnace that broke. I don't have the savings we put into the business. We put, and so
Mhm.
I'm sitting here over leveraged as an entrepreneur, and this is a story that people don't tell with entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And so you
Mm.
look at it and you go, what am I going to do? And I literally was on my knees like praying. I'm like sitting here going, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so it ended up being, the next day, my brother took me out to breakfast and he's like, "What do you need?" And I was like, Honestly, man, I don't know what I need. I just need you to pray for me." And he's like, "How about I
Yeah.
just give you 5 grand? I'll loan it to you."